Hello, Rob here from Rob and the Chaps, and I've been filming Friday Night Arena, as you can tell from my amazing dress, but I was editing Friday Night Arena, and this came up on the screen. I was on the internet. That's right, they're making a Superman, Batman film, but it's gonna be by Christopher Nolan and all the people who made Man of Steel and the Dark Knight trilogy. But it's not dark. The problem is, they said at this convention, I can't remember what it was now, I read it ages ago, that they're basing it off Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. That is not good. That is a really bad thing. Miller is a Bat fan. You know, he's one of these people who says, Batman can do anything. Why? Because he's Batman. Not good. It's not right. He doesn't do Superman justice. That's kind of ironic, actually, that, you know, Superman isn't being given justice, but anyway. And he doesn't give the characters, he ruins a lot of the character that makes Superman and Batman. He ruins Batman just as much as he does Superman. And I feel that they've spent so much time making the Man of Steel and the Dark Knight trilogy. Why are they ruining these characters so quickly afterwards? It would be so much better to keep to the material they've got, which everyone is enjoying. But the reason they're doing it is probably because Batman's more popular at the moment, and they want to, you know, cash in on that. But Man of Steel has made them a lot of money as well. Why not, you know, do Superman a bit of justice instead of make it a Batman-centric film? Sorry, the reason I'm looking down the whole time is I've got all my notes here. I think the best thing they could probably do, instead of using Dark Knight Rises, well, not Dark Knight Rises, The Dark Knight Returns, which is an animated film. I mean, yeah, it's alright, but it's not great. The best they could do is make Superman, Batman public enemies. If you want to do a join-up film, do that. But, you know, that is such a good animated film. It's them two. One is Batman and the other is Superman, and they're having to work together to beat Lex Luthor and all the other superheroes. This would also pave the way for a Justice League film, or something like that. But no one really, like, you kind of want to see them fight each other a bit, but at the same time, they're best when they work together. The two characters, in comics and in films. The two are just, it wouldn't work with them fighting and then becoming friends. They need to be working together from the outset, and they should make Batman, Superman, Superman, Batman public enemies. This is completely just, I'm saying this as I go along. I haven't planned any of this, I just saw it about 5 minutes ago. They could, this was a bit up to debate with a lot of different YouTubers and a lot of different things, and that's a sequel to the Superman Man of Steel film, like Man of Steel 2 or something, instead of making this Superman Batman meet-up film. It would be good if they did make a sequel. Like, I would like to see Lex Luthor, you know, in a sequel on his own against Superman. Something like that. Nothing like the Superman Returns 1980s films, because those are just pitiful. Or the Smallville series, which was okay at best. But, you know, the Man of Steel deserves a sequel, and not a sequel that's going to be dominated by Batman. Which is kind of sad that they're doing that, really. I mean, a good example of this is Star Wars. The Star Wars, they've gone and made Star Wars Episode 7 set after Episode 6. Idiots. That is not an intelligent idea. Nothing happens after Episode 6. You get a few, you know, minor rebellions and Luke Skywalker's children all become evil and start killing each other. But, I mean, Chewie gets killed. Does that count? Can you make a film about Chewbacca's death? I'm not sure. They should have done, if they were taking Star Wars seriously and were making a serious film for the Star Wars franchise, and it wasn't just LucasArts trying to make as much money as possible, they should have made it in the Old Republic. But in part, I'm glad that they didn't do that, because they would ruin it. Characters like Revan, Malgus, the Exile, all of these characters are very powerful characters in the Star Wars universe, and are therefore very delicate and have got to be played right. And I'd be very worried that they'd, you know, take Revan and say, oh, he's a Sith who's on the light side, we'll make him really evil and dark. No, Revan's not like that. You know, he's not just a bland, straightforward character. He is a very deep character. But I'm getting off the track. My point is that they could do this, but they've got to execute it properly. Otherwise, you know, if they don't put 120% in, it's not going to work. And if it doesn't work, it's going to be a colossal failure, like the Batman and Robin film, which is so bad it's funny. So, say they made this film, say they made Superman and Batman, and they do Dark Knight Returns, which would be a great shame. But, instead of doing Dark Knight Returns, they do Superman, Batman, Public Enemies, which, if you haven't seen it, I recommend going to watch it. It is a brilliant animated film. They've got the characters pretty much bang on in that, and the friendship between Superman and Batman is just perfect. They do it just right. Talking of just, why don't they not then make a three films in a trilogy of the Justice League, starting with the Tower of Babel, or the Doom was the animated film, wasn't it? The Tower of Babel would please all the Batman fans because it's Batman taking down the Justice League. Well, it's not really. I mean, Ra's al Ghul takes down the Justice League using Batman's plans, but he alters them because Batman wasn't actually going to kill the Justice League, whereas Ra's al Ghul alters them. So, but anyway, the Tower of Babel would please a lot of people because it has enough bad guys, all the Justice League, and it does please the Bat fans, which is a shame that we have to actually please these people. After that, for the second film, a good sequel to that, after, you know, all the destruction on the Justice League through Batman's plans, why not have the Justice Lords? I mean, we have seen it from the game Injustice Gods Among Us that this works. The Justice Lord storyline is brilliant. Like, you've got the characters like the Question and the Flash all coming out during this and being very powerful characters, as much so as Superman and Batman. And it would be, you know, Injustice proves that this can work. And I'm a huge Question fan. I mean, he wears the fedora and suit, so what can you say against him? And to finish that trilogy, the perfect film to finish that trilogy would be the Doom storyline. Not Tower of Babel. I mean the part of the Justice League Unlimited, the ending of one of the series of Justice League Unlimited, where Lex Luthor and Brainiac team up and they effectively become a god against the Justice League. And that is such a good storyline because they get brought to their knees. Nothing can save them. And then, you know, the Flash gets his moment against Brainiac and thing, and it's all there. And that it would be really, really good. Like, to start with Tower of Babel, then the Justice Lords, which leads into the Doom storyline, which actually comes after the Justice Lords in the Justice League Unlimited series. That would be a really, really good thing to do. Like, why not do that? You would please so many people if done well. And lastly, they should finish with The Last Son of Krypton. DC should finish, like, at the moment they're contending with Marvel. You don't need to do that. Marvel is going to whoop your ass with the Avengers and other, like, you know, the Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, okay, maybe it wasn't great, but, like, the Avengers and Iron Man 3, which was alright, and, you know, Hulk 2 and all of this, Marvel are going to win on team-ups. The Avengers will beat you. DC, there's no point trying to contend with Marvel on team-ups. So why not call it a day on the, you know, films for maybe a few years and finish it with The Last Son of Krypton? Why not? That is such a good story. The death of Superman against Doomsday. And then just that everyone wants to see this made into a film. With if you have all of the Doom storyline, the Justice Lords, and the Tower of Babel all coming after a Batman-Superman team-up film, and you finish it, a climax with The Last Son of Krypton and the death of Superman, you've pleased the Bat fans in Tower of Babel and maybe the Superman-Batman film, and then you give Superman respect. You know, you give Superman what he deserves in the genre, or in the comic books, because you can't just go around pleasing all the Bat fans. It's a bit stupid that Superman is a much better character. Well, he's not a better character than Batman. Batman is a lot easier to relate to people who read comics, because he's human. We're all human. Superman had his planet explode as he flew off, and he came to Earth and he's raised by the perfect family, and he's, you know, trying to make up for everything. We can't relate to that. He's an alien, for Christ's sake. Whereas Batman is just down-to-earth human on revenge. But that doesn't deny the fact that Superman is a very good character, and they don't do him justice in any of these films. So finish it with Last Son of Krypton, because that would show the Justice League losing Superman, and it would strike deep. And that would just make the perfect sort of set of films. Don't do The Dark Knight Returns, please! It's just, like, everyone wants to see this. The logo of Superman and Batman. They are together. Everyone wants Superman and Batman working together. You don't want The Dark Knight Returns, which is a Batman-centric film, where Superman is just played as the brawler who follows instructions. He doesn't. He has gone against authority many, many times. Whereas Batman is, you know, he's just human, and that's why he's more popular. Like, take the Injustice Gods Among Us tournament. They had a tournament where people voted for who would win in a fight. No one voted for who would actually win if the two fought. Batman won in the end, by the way. But, you know, it came down to a fight between Superman and Batman. Batman won. Why? Because he could beat Superman in a fight? No! 9.5 times out of 10, Superman is going to break Batman in one hand. But it's because he's Batman that they say, oh, he's going to win. Which is a shame, because things aren't being done properly, and it's making the films like this, the worry is that they're going to be trying to please all the Bat fans, and their heart isn't going to be in the right place of making a good film. And, like, you've got... And also, they're saying that they haven't got, who played Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy? Damn, I've forgotten his name now. It's not Christopher Nolan, who was the director. The one whose voice protects Gotham like this. Okay, that was really, really bad. But, like, they haven't got him, so who are they going to replace him with? George Clooney, who played him in Batman and Robin? I didn't think he was that bad, actually. I thought he made a decent Batman. It's just the film was so bad. Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. God help us. God help us all. The thing is, they might ruin the characters. Like, take what they did to Bane, for example, in The Dark Knight Rises. Now, I know a lot of people are going to hate me for saying this, but I don't like that Bane. Okay, he doesn't feel pain, but, you know, his whole origin stories was ruined, and where was the venom? Where was the thing that makes Bane Bane? They made him a brawler, they didn't make him as intelligent as he is in the comics. Everyone thinks Bane is just this, you know, punch Batman, he's the one who can match Batman physically. He's also a major strategist and intelligence-wise brilliant. You know, if you want a good Bane, a good Batman, and staying true to the comics, play the Arkham City and maybe the new Arkham Origins game, because they do the comics justice. And maybe Christopher Nolan did a very good job. He made Batman this dark, black messiah sort of villain-like character who's a goodie. But if you want that, you should see Spawn, or maybe V for Vendetta, which is just the best film ever. That is a brilliant film, and a true way to take a comic and make it into a film. V for Vendetta is a must-watch, by the way. But I'm getting sidetracked. I've probably been rambling for too long. This isn't any, you know, rant. Okay, maybe I'm ranting a little bit, but it's literally just me sitting down and saying what I think needs to be said. The fact is, they're making a Superman-Batman film. This is brilliant. We all want to see this. Who doesn't? But the problem is, you can't make it a Batman-centric film. And they're going to, because Batman's more popular. And it's a shame, because The Dark Knight Returns doesn't stay true to the characters, and it doesn't stay true to the comics. Frank Miller wants Superman to be beaten in this film. And even he can't do it. Batman doesn't beat Superman in The Dark Knight Returns. And don't give me all the bull that, oh, Batman can beat Superman. No, he can't. Never in canon has Batman beaten Superman. Tower of Babel and Dark Knight Returns are the two big excuses people use for Batman beating Superman and the Justice League. No, he doesn't do it in either of them. He has to fake his own death in The Dark Knight Returns, and then Superman lets him go from hearing his heartbeat. You know, it's a bit... Superman in the end has the final say to who wins, and who's got the more power there. And in the Tower of Babel, as I said before, it's Ra's al Ghul who actually defeats the Justice League, not Batman. Batman had contingency plans to immobilize the Justice League, not the other way around. Well, actually, it was the other way around. At the very end of the film, Superman walks up to Batman. Batman has just quit the Justice League like a boss. May I ask? he leaves like an absolute boss, and he asks them, Superman asks Batman, why are you so arrogant? Did you not have a plan if you ever went bad? And Batman turns around and says, yeah, I did. It was you and the Justice League. Surely that proves that, you know, even Batman admits Superman beats Batman. And he admits it in the comics as well. I can't remember which one this is. But Batman tries to beat Superman, and he hits him a couple of times with kryptonite, mind you, and he breaks his wrist. You know, and he says that Superman could have just crushed him in one hand. There is no contest between the two. But everyone wants there to be because, you know, everyone wants to see the human, Batman, a man who has no powers, beat a god like Superman. And I think that's a shame that they might end up ruining... And this is a might, this is all maybes and ifs and if nots and do you mind if I don't? You know, they might make a really good film. It might be brilliant, and in which case I will take this video... I will leave this video standing, actually. I will leave this video on YouTube as them not doing any of this. But if they do do this, then it would be a great shame to ruin their own characters and franchise. So, in conclusion, because I've been rambling way too long, in conclusion, Batman Superman should not be Dark Knight Rises. That would be a great shame. Make it the Public Enemy storyline. You know, Luthor makes the two of them public enemies, and the Justice League and all the superhumans working for Luthor against Superman and Batman, and it's those two overcoming all odds, and it's such a good film. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Don't do a Star Wars and make it Episode 7. You know, don't just follow on with what you've got and make shit up, because it's not going to work. But at the same time, have respect for what you're handling here. Like Star Wars, Revan and all those characters in the Old Republic, if they were to make films like that, you treat it with respect. You don't just fuck it up the ass. You don't just disrespect it, and, you know, this franchise would be, don't... God damn it, I have not slept in ages. People are keeping me awake. Parking! And therefore, I'm rather tired. So, Superman and Batman, don't just make it a Batman-centric film and lose the characters in the storyline. Don't try and make it just an action film. We got that with Batman and Robin. It didn't work. Let's just say that, it didn't work. Make a Justice League trilogy. Everyone wants to see a Justice League film. And if you want to do a trilogy, Tower of Babel, the Justice Lords, and the Doom storyline. That would be sort of, it gives everyone what they want. You get the Bat fans excited for Tower of Babel. The Justice Lords, you can see, we know that works really well from Injustice, Gods Among Us. And the Doom storyline, minor characters like the Flash and the Question and all those characters get their own, you know, they get the limelight in that storyline, which would be really nice to not make it, you know, concentrated on Batman and Superman. Right, and then finish it off with the last side of Krypton. Kill Superman. Do it properly this time. Don't just have him come back from the dead from a healing trance. I mean, everyone's going to be saying, oh, you're a Superman fan, you know. You're not being honest. But, like, you know, I judge it as much as I know Superman is insanely overpowered. But at the same time, you know, there are people in the Justice League who can beat him. Like Shazam or Captain Marvel, because Marvel decided to sue them. You know, he can beat him, because Superman has no invulnerability to magic. Black Adam can beat Superman. Wonder Woman, if she was desperate. Anyway, thanks very much for watching this, if you have watched this. If not, fuck you. I don't think I'll be doing many rant videos, I just felt all that had to be said. I recommend going to watch Angry Joe's version of this. It's a lot better than mine. He actually knows what he's talking about and has planned something, whereas I've just sat down and started saying off the top of my head. And adios, and I'll see you on Friday Night Arena. If I can finish filming it anytime soon. And then again, thanks very much for watching. Goodbye.